afternoon. Welcome back after a week off of WiTaT.
It's all your fault.
WiTaT back.
It's all your fault.
It's my immune system's fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's white blood cells.
Yeah.
You need new white blood cells.
A very porous immune system.
Jesus Christ, man.
Absorbent and yellow and porous is my immune system. That's what happened. Yeah, I had pneumonia, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We didn't lose him, unfortunately. He's still here.
We kept him.
Yeah. We put him in
What a
quarantine.
shame.
You know what I don't recommend? Going to the stadium of your favorite sports team a week after you got pneumonia.
Why?
And screaming at the field at the top of your lungs.
You were that pissed off at a fucking Jets game?
I wasn't pissed off. I was cheering on my franchise quarterback, Sam Darnold, in the midst of a scratchy throat. I'll admit it.
You live a sad existence.
I do. What am I going to do? I'm at MetLife. I'm watching
You pick a better
preseason
team.
football.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
It's not
You
a
have
bad
to
point.
scream so much.
It's not a bad point.
Are you like, I mean, you love the Jets. Like, you were just.
I love them too
What kind of
much.
relationship is it, though? Is my.
An abusive one.
Is it? Yeah, it seems that way, yeah.
It's an abusive, but I love him so much, and I know that I can change him.
It's the kind of relationship like you've been married
Right.
for 50 years and you just talk shit to each other and, you know, you just kind of take it, but, you know, it's not getting any better.
No, it's a very one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
It's more like a grandfather whose grandson is addicted to crack, but you still love him, and you still give him money, and they keep buying crack. And you say, please don't buy crack with this money for your birthday. I want you to invest it in like some sort of stocks or something to better your life, and they just keep buying crack.
Oh, my God.
That's what the relationship is like. It's very one-sided.
I do love my grandkids. I do love my grandkids.
I would have thought
Problem
that you
is
were
they
the
don't
grandkids.
They don't deserve your love.
No,
No. He's definitely the grandparent.
Okay.
And the Jets are the ones who keep buying crack instead of playing football.
JETS, baby.
It's too bad, man. You got screwed, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I was born into it. I mean, you can't choose your grandkids, you know?
You can't.
Nor can you choose their drug of choice. I'm learning that the hard way. Hey, guys, how was your week off? Relaxing?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I watched Mindhunter season 2. It was fantastic, and I also finished season 1 of Twin Peaks.
That's a good point. This might turn into the Mindhunter Season 2 podcast for a little bit here, because I also just finished Mindhunter Season 2.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to be the odd man out. I've only watched 5 episodes.
That's pretty good, man.
So can you help me and not spoil?
Well, all I'm going to say is that all of the episodes that remain are literally just the Atlanta child murders.
Yes.
Okay,
Which is
word.
not bad, though, honestly.
No, it's great.
I think it's actually fantastic.
But I'm saying the first half of the season is sort of like finishing off Season 1.
Yeah, actually.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, we're in Atlanta for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we just do it then? Spoilers for Mindhunter season 2?
Okay.
Let's go only up to 5.
I mean, what's there to spoil? It's real life murders.
There's one specific plot detail that I want to get into that's very spoilerific.
Oh, like,
Okay.
what do you mean? Like,
There's a twist. Well, not really a twist,
What,
but
with
there's...
with the child?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, you mean the crucifying the kid? I mean, that's already happened, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. Spoiler alert for Mindhunter season 2 if you have not watched it yet and you want to...
already
Okay.
said spoiler about 6
Yeah,
times.
check
I
out...
think
There's
we're
a
in the clear.
timestamp. Look at the timestamp if you want to skip over this. Do you think it's better than season 1 or not?
I thought it was gonna really tank after that first episode. I didn't love that first episode at all.
Neither did I.
And then immediately it picked up. Like, literally the second episode, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it's good again.
Huh.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Nick?
I liked it about as much as I like season 1, but I think it's a very different, almost a different show.
Yeah.
The second season, the first season, I loved like just the, just this really taking their time interviewing each of these killers, really getting into it. And like I specifically remember that one episode where their director is grilling them, talking about how they've like fucked everything up and they, all this stuff. And then at the end he goes, "You have a budget of $200,000 or whatever." I remember how badass that scene was. That was so incredible.
Yeah.
This season didn't really have necessarily a moment like that.
It's different though.
This season, and maybe it's more what this show is really about. It kind of made me realize this show's not about serial killers. It's about what being obsessed with serial killers does to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And because so many people nowadays are obsessed with serial killers and they watch these TV shows, I think it's kind of something that the audience can almost reflect on as they're watching it and be like, wow, like, is this weird that I like this so much?
Right. Yeah, the thrill of the chase, that like cat and mouse game that is somehow alluring for people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new. Like the Hannibal Lecter series is basically about this, and you know, the fine line between cop and criminal has always been a rife theme for TV shows.
Well, right, and all three of these, investigators who are really looking at all these serial killers have similarities to them.
Sure.
Yes, in a way, especially
Holden.
Oh my God, Holden. Yeah, but then like
Holden
you get
with his anxiety and.
But then you get Bill Tench, who's more of like a victim of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah.
By the way, the guy that plays Bill Tench is just incredible on this show.
Holt McElhaney.
He is. Where did they find this guy?
Oh, he's a David Fincher favorite. He was originally in Alien 3.
Really?
Which I don't know why David Fincher wanted to work with him again after that experience, but he comes back in Fight Club, and he's the guy who says, in Death, everyone in Project Mayhem has a name. His name was Robert Paulson.
Wow.
Same guy.
This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I just love, and that's the one thing that I actually like about season 2 is they're going back to his home life. It's kind of weird. Holden is not really the main character in season 2.
No.
He's sort of relegated to the background. The first season was all him, and Tench was sort of like the sidekick cop character that kept him in line. This is all Tench, and surprisingly a lot of Wendy.
Yeah, I know.
Wendy's in a good chunk of this season.
Well, it's more even evident when you look at the poster.
Yeah.
Where it's like Bill is like at the center, I believe.
Right, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. There you go, season 2.
There you go.
He's right in front. That's actually a welcome change. I will say, I am amazed with how unfunny this second season is. And I don't mean that as like a total dig. I kind of mean it as a dig, but it's a real dense show. There's a lot of just like talking about psychology and trauma and talking about the healing process and getting into the nitty gritty. That first season was kind of fun and amusing in a David Fincher way. That's often like his sensibility. It's really dark comedy and moments of levity as dour as some of the scenes look. This is just, they're going into the trenches.
It's creepier, I think.
You know? And I'm not saying that's not ineffective, but I agree with you. It is a very different show in season 2 than it is season 1.
Yeah. I really like also just the choice they made in terms of what's real and what's not.
Yeah. Well, to me,
none of the characters are real.
Well,
they're all based on real people.
I was gonna say they're very much based on real people, but like the show takes like a Steve Jobs approach. If you've ever seen Steve Jobs, it's very clear. Like the outline of the story is very much based on truth, but the nitty gritty, like what like is literally happened on a beat by beat basis, is completely different. But they do. That being said, like when they actually. Well, they'll get to the episodes where they catch the Atlanta killer and they talk with him, of course. But I mean, you can think that's going to happen.
Okay, sure.
But that's very much based off like a retelling of what happened and whatnot. So like I know that whole scenario is very much true.
It's a lot of just retelling history,
sort of. Yeah.
And I also really like, that's another point I was going to make, is the way that they. Not to really call out Netflix at all, but I'm going to call out Netflix a little bit. When they do shows that take place in like an earlier time period, like in the 80s or something like that, a lot of times they sort of alter it in ways that almost make it like as if the LGBT culture or even African American culture was a lot more accepted than it really was.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And this show is very accurate, I think. I mean, I obviously wasn't alive, but it seems very accurate in terms of the actual like race relations and where the LGBTQ like stood in society at that time.
I was blown away by the race stuff.
Oh my God.
It gets crazier. You haven't seen the Atlanta thing, but just I'm going to spoil a little bit for you here.
Go ahead.
This entire case in real life was very, very political because they didn't want Atlanta to break out into a giant race riot.
Sure.
Because they knew, they knew who the guy was. And it's like, unfortunately.
Well, even to this day, Adam.
He doesn't, he denies it.
This guy denies that he was the murderer. He says the KKK was killing all these kids. And many of the mothers whose kids were killed to this day still believe that he is innocent.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very contentious thing.
Huh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
So,
all that
and then-
stuff really blew me away because I didn't think the show was capable of going to that gear.
Well,
I thought the show at first was David Fincher, by the way. Again, I don't want to bash David Fincher again on this podcast, but he has a tendency to sometimes trivialize these like serial killers. You know what I mean? To the point where he makes these epic, very beautifully shot movies, but they don't feel as gritty as maybe they could be.
Well, something like Zodiac is not really about serial killers, is
Right.
the thing. And same like Seven is not really about serial killers in a way,
Right.
you know? So-
But that movie though is a gimmicky premise about a serial killer that's done very well.
Yeah.
But it's not, this is now handling real life serial killers here, and you're putting them in rooms. We're putting Ted Kaczynski in a room, and we're putting Son of Sam in a room. Well, not Ted Kaczynski. I'm sorry. Yeah, the guy Son of Sam is the other. I'm forgetting his name.
David Berkowitz.
Yeah, Berkowitz. Right.
I love
Ted
the
Kaczynski's
Manson
Unabomber.
scene.
Oh my
Manson
God, the
was
Manson scene
incredible.
is dope.
Incredible.
Dope.
What a performance.
That actor, he's plays the same guy who plays Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give this guy all the Emmys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Same Manson.
You know why
So
though?
does that mean these universes are tied really quick? I
Yes.
just want to get... Is the Tarantino universe part of the Mindhunter universe?
I believe so.
You know,
Well, think about it, because he sort of rewrites like World War II history, but like sort of based in reality. So maybe
not-
Mindhunter. which is
Mindhunter's not
sort of based
rewriting.
in-
You
Well,
you
no,
haven't.
These characters are not quite the same.
You also
so
haven't
maybe-
seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I was just about to say that.
That's true. I
If you
am.
saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you'd have a very different interpretation of this one. But
But like that actor was incredible.
Yeah.
what a choice he made.
But I thought it was surprisingly like restrained
Yes.
in a lot of ways. I was like, oh wow, he's grounding this in a way that I didn't expect.
Well, he turned him into like a rock star.
Yeah.
He like turned the character into this performer who comes and hangs out with Holden and Tench, and he's putting on a show.
Yeah.
He sits on the chair to assert his dominance, and he starts espousing all this philosophy. And the best part of that scene, this is such a great little detail that the show does so well, and it's one of the reasons why I love the show, is he signs Holden's book after. He takes the book.
Without even asking.
Doesn't even
"Give me the
ask.
book."
And Holden, by the way, doesn't say a word because he's like, I actually would kind of like Charles Manson's autograph. And he does the thing and he's like, here, he seemed like a good guy. What a great choice.
Can I have your sunglasses?
Right. You could have made him this ominous, creepy figure, and you could have made the scene full of tension.
It starts that way though.
It starts that way, but it ends up, you're right, becoming so real, and you see right
That's
through
exactly,
the guy.
Exactly. I was going to say, it would have been so easy for them to make him just seem like some crazy homicidal dude.
Right.
But the route they took was so much more believable.
They turn him into a con man.
There's one line delivery, and maybe I'm the only one who would have like appreciated this. I don't know why. Like, because I feel like it to most it'd just be a throwaway line, but it's like the one part where it's like, oh wow, he's actually playing this like oddly real. It's like when he's just sitting there, it's like indoctrination. Come on, man. I'm just like, wow, like wow, they went there. Oh, that's cool.
It was all their idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was nuts. And then the scene after with Tex,
Yeah,
where
that was freaky.
that somehow was a more tense scene than the Manson scene.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed this. I read this in a review after the fact. They inserted women screaming in the background of that scene. Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
There were just this little faint, these screams in the background
Yeah, I heard
that are meant to be like this dreamlike quality. It's not meant to be actual sound. It's supposed to be, what Holden is hearing at the time. And that scene was somehow better than or almost better than the Manson scene.
Yeah, I think they're sort of devolving into Holden sort of going through these mental breakdowns more throughout the season. And you didn't see this because you didn't see the second part yet, but Adam, you remember the scene where Holden's running with the cross. And they filmed that in such a weird way. Did they splice that with real footage?
No, well, no. I think they were mimicking the sort of like Super 8 footage that they would have been shooting on at the time, and it's very like low quality, but it's
grainy
sort of,
and yellow.
but it's kind of meant to reflect like the videos of various like race riots that would happen at the time, or of like police brutality or marches, because that's what it is.
But it also seemed like Holden was suffering some anxiety there, like he has been, and
well, he's just struggling to figure this case out because it's just like it's kicking his ass, and it works very well in that scene. It's actually not a decision that you would have ever seen. You'll get to this, but you'll see this, and you're like, David Fincher would never have made this decision.
Right.
So,
well, it's kind of interesting. I think Fincher was supposed to direct half the season, and he dropped out, or somebody dropped out. Because Andrew Dominic, who did Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, does, I think, 4 and 5, I think. I think Fincher does the first 3, Dominic does 4 and 5, and then this guy, Carl Franklin, takes over, who was this veteran TV and film director. So, yeah, I still think when Fincher does it, it's a better show. I still think like he has a knack for tension. Like when he shot that scene with the guy in the back of the car with his face shot off.
What a great scene.
That's the type of scene where I'm like, you know what? The dialogue here is a little flat. It's very procedural. It's not particularly funny. And the delivery here is a little stiff. But there's something with the direction here. He knows how to make a lot out of nothing, David Fincher.
Yeah. He's just a great filmmaker. He know. I mean, I guess it speaks to his abilities on something like The Social Network, where he can just get the most out of it, literally any situation, even if that situation is just 2 people talking.
Right. So there's just this underlying tension and this unnerving quality to it that he brings when these other directors step in. But yeah, I think in general, from what I've seen, I thought the Manson stuff was great. I thought the stuff with Tench's son was
a little weird.
It's
a weird choice.
Feels like it's from a different show
in a way.
Well, it also took me out of the reality of it a little bit.
Me too.
Sure.
Because it's just like it seems so kind of ridiculous. I think the point obviously is that last season the kids saw some of the photographs from Tench's murder scenes. I think that's supposed to be part of it, and they're also trying to make this case about nature versus nurture with becoming a serial killer, and
I don't think it does. It's not like it doesn't have a place in the show, in my opinion. But
but I imagine that's definitely one of the biggest points of this did not happen.
Sure, maybe.
I'm guessing.
Well, it doesn't necessarily need to happen, though. Like I said, I'm sure a great deal of the show never actually happened, aside from like the like.
Well, a lot of it's very heavily based off of a book called Mindhunter.
No, I know that. Yeah, by John Douglas, who Holden is based off of. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you need to go that close to home in order to understand
the point
that that Tench is affected by this and his home life is affected by this, and you can do it in a more subtle way. And Fincher has been able to communicate those points in a more subtle way. I think about in the first season that scene with Holden in his apartment building and the guy, or is it the woman? No, it's a guy
who comes to him. No, it's
with the elevator.
It's the wife of a guy who he got fired, essentially.
Right.
Like a principal.
Right. And that scene's supposed to show you're always taking your work home when you do something like this, and you're affecting real people's lives, and every decision that you make could cause someone's death, and you can communicate that in a subtle way without doing anything. I'm not sure you have to put the son in a position where he's culpable for like second-degree manslaughter.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure you have to go that far to say Holden's son not really into his father all that much. Or, I'm sorry, Tench's son not really into his father all that much.
Yeah. But it's funny, like oddly, I think the stuff that always felt like the most out of place was like, as much as I like the Wendy stuff, like her relationships, even in I don't know, it didn't quite gel for me.
I'm not really into her as a performer, to be honest with you.
She's okay, I guess. She's
stiff, like a lot of people on this show.
Well,
she's stiff.
I mean, she's supposed to be. That's just
one of the only
is,
things I could think of too is that you ever notice that her character is always sort of left out.
Yeah, especially in this
compared to the other two, and it's almost like in the same way her storyline feels out of place in this whole thing, and I'm not sure if there's some intent there. I feel like that would be a big waste of screen time if that was your goal. But
well, I think a lot of it is to reinforce the fact that she's an outsider. She's a college professor.
What I'm saying,
yeah, she's a college
that's
professor.
Exactly what I'm saying. But I feel like it's a lot of screen time
but
to spend making that point.
But the issue is that like the last like 3 episodes you're going to see, she's not in a single one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty much not.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I
don't think she's in one. Yeah,
she's not in them at all.
I don't think so.
I feel like that's not true. I'm pretty sure, but I did watch them all in one sitting. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure she's in none of them.
Really quick, I want to. Well, when they get to the Atlanta child murders part, the intro changes. Did you notice that? Where they have kids singing in a chorus.
It was creepy. It's so weird.
They changed the intro. It's the exact same song, but it's like kids singing in a chorus.
Okay, I need to point this out, by the way. Possibly the worst opening credits in the history of television.
Oh,
You think so?
So bad.
I love it.
No,
so
it's-
bad.
It's one of my favorites.
one of my
the
favorites.
really faint ass music where you
love
got to
that
turn up the
music.
volume in order to hear it.
No,
there's no propulsion.
Okay.
You're never
I
gonna
don't-
hum
I
that
don't-
song.
I don't skip it ever.
Yeah, I was
Are
gonna
you
say.
kidding?
I've
I
never-
I'm not
skip
kidding.
immediately.
I've never
No,
skipped
I
it once.
tweeted about it.
Yeah,
I
I was gonna
tweeted
say I
about
saw
how
your
much I
tweet
love
and I
it.
loved it. I was like, yeah, I would never skip that because it's so great.
I hate it. I really think I swear to God, it's my
No.
biggest pet peeve with the show. That and then the cold opens are just get to the fucking point already. That's
You don't like the opens with the BTK?
BTK. I'm trying to think of the name of the guy.
You don't like that?
Can't stand it. First of all, they're not going to catch the BTK killer for another like 20 years or something.
Well, that was one thing that I did notice because I just found that out recently. He didn't get caught until 2005,
Right.
and this season takes place in 1981 to 1982.
Wrap it the hell up. I don't care. It's like 30 seconds of just the BTK killer going about his business and masturbating in a bathroom. No, man. Like, give me something else. It's just dragging and dragging and dragging.
Well, they're eventually. It's gonna. The final season is probably gonna be them.
I
catching
know,
him.
but
you
I
think
got to
the final-
spend
is the
30
final
seconds of
season
every
gonna-
episode doing
Is the
that?
final season going to jump up to 2005?
Maybe. Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah. They might cover Dahmer next season. Who knows?
Man, that'd be crazy if they really start jump. I mean, the first season took place over like 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So I suppose if they really do decide to jump that far ahead, it'd be interesting.
I can't believe you guys like the theme song.
I would be
love
really
it.
interested to see
Love
how they portray multiple decades.
Yeah. No, that's what I.
So far, they're in a 5-year span, really.
Well, I love that in the first season. Again, like these shows have a decent sense of time and place, which is
Yeah.
again, I always love that in anything. So yeah, I'm a fan, of course.
Love it.
Give me more Ed Kemper, too.
We all love Ed Kemper.
I need more Ed
They bring
Kemper.
Kemper back in the episode with Manson, and
They
that was
do.
awesome.
They do, yeah.
I do love that guy.
I love the comment he says, like, Charlie's short. What? He's short. Try not to stare. Speaking about fucking Charlie Manson.
Their portrayal of every single serial killer in this show is like spot on. It's
Yes.
very good.
Those are the best scenes.
Well,
Those
but like
are-
even the actors, the way
Yeah.
they look, the way they act, everything is just really, really phenomenal.
That's
So,
where the show sings for me. It's just
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mind games that they're playing, the cat and mouse mental gymnastics they're doing.
It's so entertaining.
It really is just great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's great.
I can imagine
performance.
this show just being every episode is just one 45-minute conversation with one of these guys, and that's all they do. That would be an incredible show
I
too.
would prefer that show, to be honest with you.
In some ways, I would.
You know, but no. Again, I think the show does a lot of stuff well. It does a lot of stuff kind of poorly, but yeah, generally speaking, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, you have 2 minutes on Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks. It's not actually what I expected at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
How
not
can it
nearly as
be?
okay.
It spends the first like 3 episodes making you think it's one show, and then like
right.
actually no, more than 3. How many episodes the first season?
8.
8. Okay,
I
so
mean-
it probably spends the first 5 episodes making you think the show's one thing, and then just all of a sudden really becomes something else, and then season 2 gets even crazier.
Okay, well, there are 15,000 plot lines in Twin Peaks.
There are indeed.
Guess how many of them matter?
I'm going to say none of them matter.
0
I
is the
don't
number.
think any of them are really the point.
I don't think David Lynch would say that.
I don't even think the death of Laura matters to the show. The show is not even about that. Not even close.
Hard disagree. Hard disagree.
I didn't finish season 3.
Yeah. True that, you didn't.
Season 2 makes me think that it's not relevant anymore. But I've also heard season 3 brings back a lot of shit.
Season 3 does a lot of shit.
Well, I again, like,
That show's wild. I can't even like wrap my head around it. I really can't. I'm not smart enough.
it's one of those like shows. Again, it's so complicated and convoluted to all hell, but it's like entertainingly complicated. Where it's just like, what the hell is going on? Like half the time with the strangest characters, by the way.
Well, you have to keep in mind as well, this was a show, came out in 1990
Is it making fun of soap operas?
on ABC. ABC primetime show. It's a soap opera. It's not making fun of soap operas. It is a soap opera.
It doesn't look like a soap opera.
It doesn't, because David Lynch is directing it, or at least directed the pilot.
But
and
it feels
had a
very
hand in it.
It feels very aware of that.
Yes, for sure. But I think in a lot of other cases, it goes for it. I mean, it's commenting on soap operas, but like some of the stuff with like Bobby and what's his girlfriend's name in the show? Is it Shelley? Shelley and Bobby?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all that stuff. The stuff in the diner with the waitresses, it's very broad, basic strokes, primetime soap opera. It's just this added layer of weirdness and tension that makes it a classic. So like you have to adjust to that. And you have to know I am watching a primetime soap opera that happens to be made by David Lynch. Now, I cannot possibly comment on seasons 1 and 2 having seen season 3 and you understand anything I'm saying, because season 3 is so its own thing. And I mean, like, it's something that's never been attempted in the history of television and will probably never be attempted ever again. And it recontextualizes everything you see in seasons 1 and 2 in a way that will blow your mind and actually change your life.
Wow. Okay.
It's so.
I feel like I need to watch seasons 1 and 2 again.
No, you
and
don't.
then watch.
No, you
I
don't.
really do feel like I need to.
I don't think you do.
Because
then I also have to watch Fire Walk with Me.
Yes.
right, because
And-
I feel like I can't appreciate season 3 unless I remember everything.
No, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
How do you feel about my favorite character in anything ever?
Who is that?
Dale?
Log
Yeah.
lady?
Dale Cooper?
Dale Cooper.
Dale
Special
Cooper's
Agent Dale Cooper.
Not
That's
Log
a
Lady?
damn fine cup
Oh, you're
of
asking
coffee.
me.
Not log
Yeah,
lady?
Adam.
Dale Cooper's my favorite character of all time.
He's ever, right? Like,
I
of
fucking
anything.
love Dale. How could you not love Dale Cooper?
He is.
I've never
literally
seen someone get so excited over a cup of coffee before. It's the
better
best.
than Luke Skywalker. Okay.
He's the hero we all deserve.
Yes.
He's better than Iron Man.
Oh, no question.
He's better than The Dark Knight or Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yes.
He's better than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. He's better than Vito Corleone. Michael Corleone.
Easy.
Easily.
I don't want to sell short Sheriff Harry S. Truman, though. I don't want to sell him short because
I do.
he's just terrific as well.
I do also want to
Great
comment.
chemistry.
I love seeing Jack Nance in this from Eraserhead.
Sure, Jack Nance just pop up in this. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, he's a pretty prominent figure. I was
Is
like,
Lynch on the show yet?
no.
Okay. Oh,
I think it's.
I do know his character, Gordon, who just screams all the time.
yes.
That was a great character as well.
Also a big Audrey fan myself.
Oh, yeah.
Big Audrey fan. And man, what they do with her in season 3 is just out of this fucking world.
All right.
It's like, what are you doing here,
I think I'm
Lynchy?
just anxious to get to season 3.
Right, that's what it is. And to be honest with you, you're going to have to power through season 2 in order to get there.
Yeah, I know.
Because the back half of season 2 is not great. The network sort of pressures them to wrap up the Laura Palmer thing, and so they do, and then Lynch leaves, and they do the show without him, and it's kind of weird and meandering, and then it ends. So you have
They
to
should
power
have
through
never. They should have never wrapped up the Laura Palmer thing. Just let that go.
I don't think he was intending to.
that. He did not intend to. As evident by season 3, which goes right back to Laura Palmer territory, and I'm not sure it's wrapped up after that season ended either.
All right.
Interesting.
So good, season 3. Oh my god, it's the best.
Okay.
All right, Nico, give me your.
You
your
can have
password.
it. My Showtime. Take my Showtime password.
Yeah, we'll watch it.
You got to do it, and we need to do a podcast about it.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Well, I'm
right.
a third of the way there, kind of.
Good. Okay, Mindhunter, Twin Peaks out of the way. Let's continue. Piranhaconda month.
You remember that, guys?
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, I guess.
It's been like a whole other month.
Piranhaconda month is almost wrapping up. We only have 2 installments left. We have this Piranha 2, The Spawning, which I take a little bit of umbrage with, but we'll get there, and Anaconda, which is coming next week.
Which is
I'm excited for Anaconda. I'm not gonna lie.
you should be excited for Anaconda.
I think this will be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, though, for today, I have a feeling that the highlight of the conversation was Mindhunter, and it's done and gone.
Well, okay, there is plenty to talk about with this movie.
You're right. No, I have plenty to talk about. It's just not the movie.
Yes, it has nothing
like
to do with the movie
tangential
itself.
to it. I just want to talk about James Cameron. That's all I want to talk about right now.
I'm serious. When on the topic of like first-time filmmakers, after this is done, we need to do Bad Taste.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it.
We're doing Bad Taste.
Now, I have one weird thing I have to point out. Have you guys known? I just found out today that James Cameron's Twitter handle is Jim Cameron.
Oh yeah, everyone calls him Jim.
Yeah, I think on set they call him Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of like interviews.
Why would you make your Twitter handle Jim Cameron though? Everybody knows you as James Cameron.
But everyone he works with knows him as Jim.
Yeah, but Twitter's not for the people you work with.
Yeah, but it's more sentimental to him.
Yeah, it's more personal. It's like you know the guy.
Yeah. You don't
I don't know the guy.
All right.
I mean...
Well, I know the guy.
Yeah, how else do you get to know a guy who's locked himself in a bunker for 12 years working on Avatar sequels? How else do you get to know a guy if he doesn't have Twitter?
By the way...
He hasn't seen daylight in 12 years, Nick. Don't you feel bad for Jim Cameron?
I feel bad for this guy in general. His entire filmography, I mean, he's just been making it harder for himself. I mean, he started making movies underwater, I guess. He's just obsessed with that shit.
Man, this guy is chasing something, and I don't know what it is. It could be the lost city of Atlantis.
He's already made the best movie he's ever going to make.
He just doesn't want to film any movies on Earth.
I guess not.
You know what I mean? He wants them all to be in some other space or time.
You see, even when it's on Earth, he has to be doing the most ridiculous shit.
Right, he has to be doing time travel.
Like, have you seen True Lies?
Incredible movie!
Yes!
Such a good movie!
It's probably one of the only James Cameron movies I haven't seen at this point.
Incredible movie.
Because, I mean, all the Terminators and Aliens and all that shit, you know.
There is a scene in True Lies where Arnold Schwarzenegger is flying a Harrier jet, and he's flying over, I believe it's Los Angeles, and just looking down on the city, talking with a cop on the phone, and he's just like, give me the address to X place. As I'm flying over these buildings, give me the address to this building.
And because he can see the street signs.
Yes, exactly. And he finds the place. He actually finds the place and fucks shit up.
Now, does he jump out of the helicopter, land on his feet, and then just start shooting a fucking
First of all, it's a
machine
chopper.
gun?
It's a chopper, Nick. Let's be clear.
Should I spoil it to him what happens in True Lies?
That's fine.
Well, he's fighting terrorists as Arnold Schwarzenegger does.
Right.
And there's a part where the terrorist jumps on his jet. All right. And at a certain point, the terrorist falls off and hooks like a sling onto one of the missiles that's attached to this jet. Right? And Arnold Schwarzenegger...
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
And there's another enemy terrorist helicopter flying in the distance, like right in front of the jet, right? He then turns to the terrorist, says, "You're fired."
You're fired!
Shoots him.
Yes, that was the best!
Shoots him into the helicopter.
What a great movie!
You're fired.
Such a fun, great Schwarzenegger performance in that.
I think maybe
So good.
What year did that come out?
96 or something?
94. So like right before Titanic, really.
Maybe the hottest Jamie Lee Curtis has ever been, by the way.
Stunning in that movie.
Oh my God.
Because, so James Cameron sort of shifts gears after Titanic a little bit.
I want to ask just a broader question to piggyback on that for a second. Do y'all respect James Cameron?
Yeah.
Y'all admire James Cameron?
Not politically, but
I think I actually respect him, and this is going to sound weird. I think I respect him more after watching Piranha 2.
Yeah, me too, in a way.
Because he took... I tweeted this exact statement here, okay? Because as you know, I live tweet all my movies at this point for the podcast. The fact that... I don't know how this movie landed on his lap, but the fact that he took it and tried to make a legit sequel, tried to actually like stay in the storyline, stay with the same feel of the movie, but still make a James Cameron movie. I kind of respect that.
Do you want to know how it fell in his lap?
Sure.
I'll read this from the IMDb trivia page.
Okay.
Here we go. It's a long paragraph. Bear with me. This is all the research I've done into this movie. Although this is the first official directing credit for James Cameron, most of the work was actually performed by Oviedo J. Asinitis, which sounds like a sexually transmitted disease.
It does.
The film's producer and prolific filmmaker. Asinitis had made a deal with a small label at Warner Brothers for a budget of $500,000 to produce the movie, provided that an American was credited as director. After considering Miller Drake as director, but finding him unsuitable, he gave the job to Cameron after being impressed by his special effects on Galaxy of Terror, a movie from 1981. But what he really wanted was a first-timer who he could easily sidestep in order to take over as director. That was always his plan. Something he had done on 2 movies of his in the past. According to the biography of James Cameron, Dreaming Aloud, Cameron worked on the film's special effects, rewrote the script, created storyboards, did location scouting, and actually filmed for 4 days. However, Asinitis called most of the shots continuously. He called most of the shots into question continuously. Questioned Cameron's decisions, did not allow him to watch his own footage, and finally fired him on the 5th day of shooting, reportedly because Cameron's footage wouldn't cut together, quote unquote. Later, Cameron was able to convince Asinitis to show him a rough cut of the film, which was horrible, but not because there was anything wrong with his footage. Asinitis had simply manipulated the situation to rewrite half the movie, adding nudity that wasn't in the script originally. Cameron then broke into the editing room every night for weeks and cut his own version. Unfortunately, Asinitis found out and recut it again. The most widely distributed version of the film that's available on DVD is Asinitis' version, although Cameron was later allowed to create a director's cut that saw a limited release in some markets.
I saw the director's cut.
Okay, so.
Well, this is confusing.
Yeah.
So we watched 2 different movies.
Okay.
This is a very complicated situation now. I have no idea what movie I saw. I assume it wasn't the director's cut.
Well,
I saw one that
there were these long underwater shots that to me were very James Cameron-esque. I felt like.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question. What did you think of the movie?
Oh, I mean, it was shit.
Okay, because I didn't think it was terrible. Well, I didn't think it was that bad. Let me put it this way. It wasn't that great. It's one of the most forgettable movies I think I've ever seen. That being said, I was like, this is significantly better than I thought it was going to be. I mean, by a huge margin.
I mean, it was significantly better than Piranha.
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree.
This is interesting.
I thought.
Well, no, I mean, I thought there was more effort put into it, but I still didn't think it was good because the entire premise from the start was stupid.
Yes.
That's how I felt about it.
Yes.
So is it possible that we saw a cut of a director that no one's heard of, and you saw a cut of literally the most financially successful director of all time, and that's why you thought the movie was better than us? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
I think that's a possibility.
Yeah. Because I was watching, I was like, oh, these underwater shots are lame, and well.
Did you see a lot of nudity?
Yes. I saw zero nudity.
Wow.
Zero nudity.
Oh my. We
I think
watched
that
different
tells you,
movies.
'cause there was a lot of nudity.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
wait, wow, this is the second time in a row that Adam's watched the wrong Piranha movie. No.
Son of a bitch. Yeah,
no, but I think
No.
we stumbled into something here.
This is incredible, actually. Yeah, there was. I mentioned how the nudity was a lot less tasteful than it was in Titanic. But now I understand why.
You only
because it
saw
was made
one
by
of
a
Kate
guy-
Winslet's boobs in Titanic, if I recall correctly.
No, you see both.
You do?
Yeah, you do.
I thought one was covered up.
No.
You also see it in the painting.
Well, that's true.
Can't forget that.
So I guess you see 4 of her boobs.
Yeah, there was a lot of nudity in the version that I saw.
Wow.
Gratuitous nudity, actually.
There
like
was
nudity when you didn't
one
need it.
shot of a boob, and that was it. It
Was there the opening scene with
opening scene where they're underwater and they're having sex for some reason.
they're trying to have sex in an underwater shipwreck? Yes. How romantic, by the way.
I can't even fathom that. But good luck. Anyway,
Yeah.
like that's it. That was one shot of a boob.
So you're saying the real movie here, and the movie that's made by the master filmmaker, is the one that you saw, and it's really not that bad.
It's not good, but I wouldn't necessarily call it bad either. It's like it's very like milquetoast blood. Like there are no memorable kills. There's no like particularly inventive shots or anything like this. The story itself is boring, but it's very like inoffensive. It is what it is. It kind of like goes exactly where you're expecting it to, and it's like. Yeah, it's just like a people trying to kill a bunch of piranhas. And
I mean, I would say we saw the same sort of thing that you just described, with the exception of the shots. There were long underwater shots, which I thought those were like James Cameron.
Right.
Yeah, well,
experimenting with this kind of thing. You know,
Maybe.
in preparation for Titanic 16 years later, which is not far-fetched.
Possibly.
Or maybe one came before the other. Maybe he got the job to do Piranha, spent some time shooting underwater, and loved it so much that he's been chasing that ever since.
Maybe. Because then there's the Abyss.
Well, I think that the year James Cameron was born, he started preparing for Titanic. I don't think that's far-fetched. If you look how many years in advance he's prepped out Avatar, I think this is just phase 2.
It's just funny because Titanic isn't even his best film. But
Do you think it's his best film, Nick?
Ask the critics. I don't know. I think the critics would say it is.
no, I actually don't. I actually disagree with that.
I think The Terminator's is his best movie, personally.
I think his most successful film by far.
I think that's probably right.
It's funny. I think his third best film is Aliens, and I actually think Titanic is not as good as Aliens.
Yeah, there was also
I would
a
actually knock it
weird,
at like 5, maybe.
There was a scene where one of these flying piranhas comes out of somebody's stomach, very Alien-esque. Mm-hmm. 3 years after Alien came out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
the
I
initial
also
one.
thought that was pretty James Cameron-esque. But was that in your version?
Yeah. There was. Yeah.
Well, I know he
Okay.
did use a lot of those effects on the face huggers in Aliens.
Right.
The same puppetry technique he used for the flying piranhas as in his sequel. So
Interesting.
he did borrow a lot of that stuff. There was some overlap.
All right.
I thought it was possible that even like the same props might have been used, just like
Nah. Well.
it
I
practically.
think there was a
looked
little
that way.
bigger budget on Aliens.
Sure. Sure.
Aliens is a sophisticated film. It's an Oscar-winning film, actually.
Oh, come off it.
Actually, no, it's an Oscar-nominated film.
Come off it.
Isn't it funny that Sigourney Weaver was nominated for an Oscar for that movie?
She's great in that movie.
It's so funny.
Yeah,
Well, I imagine when that movie, the year that movie came out, though, if you think about it, there really was nothing like it.
I don't know. Oh,
Right.
Aliens? Aliens is wonderful,
No,
dude.
I meant Alien.
Oh, Alien, yeah.
Well, she
mean,
was
that
not
was-
nominated for Alien. She was nominated for Aliens, right?
Yeah, she was nominated for the
Oh,
sequel
okay.
that James Cameron
Okay.
directed, yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I misheard you. But yeah, because I mean, I feel like before, like, I could be wrong. I'm not a movie expert by any means, obviously, but I feel like before Alien came out, most of those types of movies were like the low budget monster movies, as compared to something like that, which was serious and.
Well, they were Roger Corman films, which is essentially what this is too. He might have even produced this. Or
I don't
know,
think he
I know,
was.
I know he produced the first one.
Yes, he did.
So
I don't think he was involved here. Yeah. Yeah, they were considered schlocky B-movie fare.
Right, and then Alien kind of elevated it up.
It was one of the
notch, I
movies that
imagine.
elevated it for sure. I mean, Jaws probably did the most
Yeah,
work
sure.
on that, but yeah, Alien for sure. What do you think about this whole shooting underwater obsession?
with James Cameron,
Yeah, do you find that compelling?
I find it compelling in The Abyss.
You know, I've never seen The Abyss.
Really?
Never seen it.
Oh, The Abyss is good.
Yeah?
I feel like it's kind of. It's almost overdone. It's kind of like when you see Tarantino shooting feet.
You know what? James Cameron also produced that thing about people getting trapped in a cave underwater too.
Yeah.
You remember
Well,
that?
he also fucking went in a submarine to the lowest point on the Earth.
What does he love so much about water?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. He did 3 of those movies.
Yeah, he loves the ocean for some reason. You know.
He did
Don't get me wrong,
Titanic.
I like the ocean. I'm a fan. You know.
I like
It's-
aquariums.
the ocean. The ocean's done right by me. Okay.
Yeah.
I would never go all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
No, I don't want to know what's
Fuck
down there.
that,
I'll
man.
go to the bottom of a fish tank one time and I'll see what's down there, and that's all I need. Little pebbles and a guy in a diver's costume. That's all I need to see in terms of the bottom of some water life. I think what happened though is that he does Titanic in '97, and he gets all this technology, this massive budget to actually go down there and film Titanic in that first 45 minutes, which by the way, I think is unbelievably boring. I think the first 45 minutes of Titanic suck, and then the movie really kicks in and it's an incredible movie. But I think he does that, and it's like, I gotta get back down there. I need to explore some more. So he does 3 documentaries with IMAX cameras: 2002 Expedition Bismarck, 2003 Ghosts of the Abyss, and 2005 Aliens of the Deep. Where it's just James Cameron underwater in a submarine shooting shit. And now, supposedly, the Avatar sequels are going to be underwater. Or at least one of the Avatar sequels is going to be entirely underwater.
All right.
So I'm just trying to figure out, do you find those shots to be like, this is what film was invented for? Is it that much of a revelation? Because when he sees it, he's like, yes, this is what I was put on this earth to shoot, and I will bring this to the people.
I mean, I I don't know. I find the Abyss to be quite thrilling. I don't. It's not like a necessity, though. It's not like that's what film is going towards. I mean, I fundamentally disagree with him in terms of 3D.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
But let's be honest, though. James Cameron is seeing something that we can't see.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He's seeing beyond what our eyes are meant to be able to see.
Yeah, most
This
filmmakers
guy-
are that way. That's true.
When he's thinking about 3D, I don't think he was thinking about what we got when we went to the theater. I think he was thinking beyond that. You know what I mean? He wants like a fully sensory experience. He wants you to watch this movie underwater. You know what I mean?
That's where it's going, underwater cinema.
This guy.
He hasn't
No,
been.
but I'm saying he must. I imagine someone like this. I mean, a lot of these creators are like these fucking insane people, and I think that he just sees something that like is just beyond what humanity is capable of
I
experiencing.
think that's a very insightful point. I think that's 100% right.
Maybe you think he's just a crazy person that has a crazy vision that is never going to be fully realized.
I mean, name one like genius artist who isn't.
Who hasn't completely fully fulfilled their vision?
No, who isn't crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all nuts.
You know,
well, all
I mean,
right.
Spielberg's not nuts.
No, I wouldn't.
Spielberg in a way. I'm gonna say something a little controversial.
Oh
I
boy,
think.
here we go.
And I haven't seen every Spielberg movie ever, but I've seen enough of them to get the idea. I feel like he is. How do I word this exactly? I feel like he's the best filmmaker without necessarily taking big risks.
Well, that's entirely right.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of safe. He's a great filmmaker, but he's safe. He's very like film in its purest form, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's very true.
Like,
At least
I almost think BFG for him was like a big risk, and that's not.
He's the greatest violin player of all time.
yeah.
Where it's like that's what he does.
Yeah,
He's a
exactly,
guy
yeah.
that got a violin, and he's not Mozart, he's not Bach, he's not Beethoven, but damn, can he play a symphony? Like, damn, can this guy hit all the notes right? And you've heard the notes before, but no one can hit the notes better than him. That's what Spielberg is.
I'm trying to think of just like perfectly normal filmmakers where it's like you hear about them and there's just nothing odd about them.
Scorsese.
Sort of one that people honestly.
Scorsese though is a little. He'll take a little bit more risk, I think.
Yeah, I don't
right?
think personality-wise, though. I think he's kind of go with the flow in that way.
No, but that's what I'm talking about. Like David Fincher, at least on set, is a personality, and Quentin Tarantino again is a personality. But then, like, ironically, like apparently George Miller is very easygoing on set.
But that shocks me.
Yeah, that's the thing. But I mean, if you listen to him in interviews, he's just this sweet grandpa who's just like, I just wanted to make a crazy movie about people hitting each other with cars.
Here's where I'll take umbrage with your Tarantino point, though. This is where I'll take umbrage. Tarantino is a student of film and is chasing something. If you saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that's exactly what this movie's about. He's chasing the movies that he watched 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And he is only out there to mimic and pay homage and put up there in the class with some of the great auteurs before him. He's not trying to reinvent the wheel.
No.
James Cameron and I'll also put George Lucas in this category because I think these are the two most prominent guys.
They're trying to change movies.
Yes. And that's how you get Star Wars. You get Star Wars because you try to change movies. But then you also get the prequels when you try to change movies. And that's the James Cameron, George Lucas fine line. I always go back to the Steve Jobs thing where it's like Steve Jobs created our modern technological society, essentially, changed the way that we live with the iPhone and with dozens of other pieces of technology, but then like didn't go for chemotherapy.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, how can a guy so brilliant with all the resources possible not get the proper cancer treatment? And I always say to people, of course he didn't go for chemo. He's an innovative mind and he's always trying to go 5 steps ahead. And sometimes you make mistakes.
Yep.
And that's what happens. He's looking to innovate. James Cameron and George Lucas are seeing things that, as you said, we're not seeing. And so James Cameron doesn't think of film like Tarantino thinks of film. He doesn't think about it as a couple actors on a soundstage reciting dialogue. He thinks about, we're going to go to the bottom of the ocean. We're going to create an immersive experience in IMAX 3D. We're going to outer space. George Lucas says we're going to create massive worlds and planets with green screen and CGI. We're going to go there. And then someone like J.J. Abrams comes around and says, nah, we're just going to do Star Wars. And you got to respect those guys. For as much flack as James Cameron gets, for as much flack as George Lucas gets, he gets more of it than anybody else. They're trying to push things. And that's how we get Terminator. That's how we get Titanic.
Yeah, but again, it's innovation with for the sake of innovation. Like, I mean, I think the people.
Yes, it is.
I think that's flawed to me. Fundamentally, you innovate because you have to.
I'll be honest with you too. If you gave me the same movie but one by James Cameron and one by J.J. Abrams, I'd probably rather watch the Abrams movie.
Right now, you would. Yeah. Right now, you would.
Yeah.
You'd rather watch the J.J. Abrams Star Wars sequel than the Avatar sequel.
And there's just a self-righteous pompousness to what James Cameron's trying to do.
You think?
I'm sorry, but I think
I get a little bit of that, but
I find like his commitment to 3D to be complete bullshit. I think he's completely wrong about it.
I think he's wrong. Yeah,
because I find 3D to be it breaks the immersion for me.
Okay,
but here's the thing. Again, I also think that there is this separation between what's going on in his mind and the 3D that we get when we go to the theaters, right?
Fine.
I mean, we're going there and we're wearing those fucking glasses, and it's like, oh, the hand is popping out of the screen, right? He's talking about, I think, like being in the movie, like real immersion.
But you're not, though. It's like, and the only way to actually feel like you're in the movie is to get that stuff out of there. Well, once I see a hand popping out of the screen, I am literally seeing a hand popping out of a screen, and I'm out
and this
of the
is
movie
also a guy who's
immediately.
talking. And I don't know this for a fact, but I bet you this is a guy who's talking about changing the way we digest cinema.
Yes.
He's about
It's more than
changing
that,
your
you're right.
mind. Mm-hmm. And the way that we are used to sitting there and watching a movie on a screen, he's saying, no, that's the old way.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm just saying it speaks to how flawed I guess his attitude is when I watch Clerks and I find it more immersive than a 3D Avatar. Okay, I'm not even kidding.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong, but also you didn't make Terminator, dude.
That's fine.
You know what I mean?
But
that's what I'm saying. It's that thinking that gives us Terminator.
I know.
Our thinking isn't going to get us Terminator. We're film snobs. I love Tarantino more. I think about film in a very similar way to Tarantino in a lot of ways. And yes, I'm chasing the stuff of the past because I enjoy that shit. But they're chasing the future. And again, that's how you get Avatar. I mean, that's how you get Terminator. That's how you get Titanic. That's how you get Aliens.
Once you get to the future, to a degree, it's almost better to have someone like Abrams or... like how many? They made 3 Terminators, right?
They're going on 6 now.
Well, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I mean, how many of them are like? Well, they made 3, then they made like Judgment Day and all that other shit.
Cameron
right?
made 2.
Only 2 of them are good.
Cameron
I almost
made 2.
would see. So what I was gonna say is, I think that if like someone like J.J. Abrams took over the Terminator franchise and made Terminator 3 instead,
Right.
Yeah.
it probably would have been a better movie.
Yeah.
Actually, to a degree. I mean, I don't.
Terminator
2's good though.
It's very good.
It's great, yeah. No, but you're right though. But you're getting at it. It's after the innovation. Now J.J. Abrams is doing James Cameron karaoke.
Mm-hmm. Can James Cameron make a good movie without innovating?
I don't think James Cameron is interested in making a good movie without innovating.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the question. So like once he's innovated, can he just like make a good movie?
No, I don't.
Innovating.
I don't think he's interested.
It's
And who are we to say that he should be interested?
I'm not saying he should. I'm not.
It's just ironic to me because when I look at something like Terminator, it's not fundamentally all that different as a film to Pulp Fiction. It operates ultimately the same way with its visual imagery, telling its story, blah, 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 blah. It's not like changing the wheel necessarily. I mean, the only thing that Terminator 2 really changed was CGI, but like that's it. Again, you're still operating the same way. It's still
Think about how many movies use CGI now.
I know, exactly.
And we don't have CGI without them.
Yeah, that's
we don't. If Spielberg and Lucas and Cameron did not champion that stuff, we wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Didn't Cameron do the visual effects in the first Alien? Or wasn't he involved in that to some degree?
I don't know.
No.
I'm
Am
not
I
sure
misremembering?
he was.
I thought the thing with like the using the electricity to make the.
No. Well, he was a matte painter for a long time. He did the matte paintings for like Escape from New York and whatnot, and
Okay.
he did a lot of work
But
like that.
So he did a lot of visual effects, though. I know that.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't he do something with like electrocuting maggots or something to make a move?
I don't know.
I thought I heard some story about this.
Wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
And I thought that was sort of like one of his claims to fame. But anyways,
I'm just not. I'm not sure what James Cameron is chasing at this point, I don't know.
No, I don't know, but of course I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, of course I don't know. I
guess-
know
I
what
guess it's
Tarantino's
almost
going to do
unfair.
next.
It's almost unfair to even say James Cameron's a filmmaker. That's like saying Steve Jobs is like a phone maker, but he's not. He's an innovator. It's a different thing.
Well, I'm not sure that's entirely true, because Titanic is still a damn good movie.
Yes.
Right, but
Titanic is still a damn good movie.
I'm not sure even I would call Titanic like the most innovative film ever on a fundamental level. I mean,
But it's big, though.
It's big. I don't.
But you
care.
can tell he's chasing bigness.
Sure, but
He's chasing something no one else is.
the final product is still, the same thing. It's just like another visual story projected onto a screen.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. It's like how far are you willing to go? Just tell good stories.
Look, I think the problem that we're having is there are a lot of guys just like James Cameron who chased that muse, whatever that was, looked to innovate the industry, and you've never heard their names. And the only difference with James Cameron is that he knows how to make a movie.
and when you
really
say tell
knows.
a good story, I mean, I think he does tell a good story.
Yeah, exactly
As
right.
a matter of fact, I don't think he as much as we shit on Avatar, like at the end of the day, he didn't go to reinvent the wheel when it came to the story.
No,
He
you're right.
told a simple,
You told
good
Pocahontas.
story. He said Pocahontas, yeah. And he said, this is a good story. It's been told 1,000 times. I'm going to do it a little differently, but it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately, I think, aged the worst out of maybe any of his films.
Yeah.
It's a miss. Yeah, it's a miss. It happens.
I'm not saying I don't want people to have this mindset. I think it's great. I think it's important
The
that you have
reason that
mindset.
we're upset is because we know James
Yes.
Cameron's name. And we know James Cameron's name because he's a damn good director.
Yes.
And so the problem is whenever he misses or whenever he swings too hard for the fences and strikes out, we get pissed at him. We're like, dude, why didn't you just bunt?
But I also-
why didn't you just go for a
Yes.
base hit?
Well, it's tough with movies, too, because so much goes into it. So many years, so much money,
And
so
that's
much
the other
hype.
thing we're frustrated. We have lost 12 years of his career because he's been in a bunker working on Avatar sequels.
Yeah.
Right.
This is
Right.
important. It's how they miss that pisses me off. Like Quentin Tarantino missing on like Hateful Eight is like whatever. He'll pick himself back up, and he did.
Yeah.
But it's like, but when James Cameron says, I'm going to change everything, I'm like, get your head out of your ass and just make a fucking movie.
But it's funny. The same thing happens with authors, too. Like, people are pissed at George R. R. Martin because he still hasn't finished book 6.
Right.
There's another author, Patrick Rothfuss, who has written arguably 2 of the best books, and book 3 is supposed to come out, and it's been years. And it's like, you say you like this person, you say you like really love their work, and then you attack them.
Right. You question
when they
their
fail.
process.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, so
But again, it's the same way why I backed away from David Fincher just a little bit, because he got so obsessed with finding himself in TV land, and he just stopped making movies. I mean, he's made some decent. He's made some good television, but I mean, is his work?
We just talked about his television being really good.
I know, but it's not. It's films. I mean, again, doesn't really make movies anymore.
Yeah, but so
interesting.
what?
But he
it's
barely.
also interesting. We tend to talk about these things in terms of like a director or an actor or a writer, right? And just focus on that. But really, I mean, in a way, movies or TV, it's this like sort of this beautiful disaster of all of these different things just coming together.
Yeah, that's very true
And,
too.
Yeah.
One thing could go wrong and ruin the movie, and it might not be the director's fault. Or I mean,
No.
usually would be, but
But I'm just saying, like someone like Fincher is not producing as much as he used to anyway. So.
right.
Well, he did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's not really producing.
There also could be other factors like the industry's changing, and why the hell is he gonna keep making movies instead of doing TV?
Well,
Sure.
he's releasing a new movie now on Netflix. He's starting up.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
I forgot what it is.
If I were in these guys' shoes right now, I would move to TV and do straight to Netflix movies. And why the hell would you make? To a degree, the people who are making movies in theaters still are either, well, half of them are either working for Disney, and the other
Making
half
Marvel
are people,
movies, yeah.
right? And then the other half are people like Tarantino, who are like old school. Scorsese's still doing it.
Yeah, I think he identifies television as a medium for him to really express himself.
Yep.
Whereas, Taika Waititi is working on a second Thor movie, and you know what I mean? It's like James Gunn is doing Suicide Squad.
This is what I love about like the the whole industry is that there's so many different factors, including just like the industry itself, what's happening, have nothing to do with the director or the writer or anything like that, just the industry and the financial factors.
Well,
there's so much going on.
Well, it's become what it was in the 50s, except it's even a little more sinister now, in my opinion, where it's like there's even less creative expression now.
Yeah.
And it's less enjoyable. Like, at least people back then enjoyed working on the movies. It feels like now it's just so assembly line and they're just getting a job done.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Man.
Well, that was James
I don't know.
Cameron.
Yeah.
That was a conversation and a half.
Well, I'll bring up some plot points from the movie and then we'll go.
We'll talk about Piranha 2 here.
Okay. I just want to know what the physics of having sex underwater are.
Well, you get well, I think you could do it. It'd just be well, no, you know what? No, I mean,
You ever use a plunger?
I was gonna say, yeah, okay. So the woman is gonna weigh a little less, you know, so you can just kind of like move her accordingly. You know, you're fine. You just need to. Well, here's what you do: you let out some air, so you sink to the bottom, and you're just sitting there, and then you can do it.
I did enjoy that they took the oxygen mask off because they have to have the full experience, and they're just smooching underwater, total open lip. You're taking on so much.
Now, see,
Is this the ocean?
I believe so.
It's like salt water.
Right.
kissing underwater is actually not that pleasant, by the way.
I would imagine.
It really isn't, and it's annoying because the water like rushes into your mouth, and then you have to like spit it out. It's just
Most
it's not,
things underwater I feel like are less pleasant because we're not meant to be underwater.
what a shame.
Got all this algae around you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's something about, I'm a land animal.
That's
true. I want to stay that way.
I enjoy the water tremendously, but yeah, I
Take
don't
a bath, go
I
for
don't
a
want
swim.
to. I don't want to
That's
live
not
in
the
the
same.
water
Right. I don't have gills.
like a fish.
Point number 2.
Yes.
I have a big problem with this. So you saw the title card, right, Nick?
Yeah.
Okay, title card that I saw, Piranha 2, or I should say on IMDb it's listed as Piranha 2 The Spawning.
Yeah.
Title card of the movie, Piranha 2 Flying Killers. No mention of The Spawning.
Okay.
So what the hell did I just see?
That's not what I got. I got Piranha Part 2, The Spawning.
Okay, not the initial title then. It must have been one of those situations where it was theatrically released under a different title. Mm-hmm. This happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like I know with Fast
this
and Furious
movie in particular.
7. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it was really just the whole release was really fucked up.
So I will, because I think this is a better name than The Spawning. I don't even know what The Spawning means.
Yeah.
I'm going to, from now on, call this movie Piranha 2, Flying Killers.
Flying Killers.
Okay?
It's so stupid.
All right, we're on the same page there? Good. All right. Many cougars in this movie.
Yeah.
One of the things I respected about this
horny
movie.
old ladies.
Yeah, a lot of horny old ladies. Not a lot of roles for them usually in Hollywood, especially in creature features.
Horny old ladies?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Well, one MILF and one horny old lady.
Okay.
Yeah. The main character of the movie is a MILF, and I just think that's very respectable.
I like, by the way, this is kind of strange. I kind of like the acting in this movie. I thought it was fine. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
That's insane.
Yeah, no. Maybe, again.
I thought her acting was fine.
I thought she was fine. I thought Lance Hendrickson was fine.
That's the furthest I would go.
Yeah.
Is her acting.
No, Lance Hendrickson is good.
How about that random couple that was like obsessed with the continental breakfast at the hotel?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was like, oh, honey, let me take a picture of it. We got some free breakfast out of it.
No one cares about those, though. That's not the center of attention for the movie. I'm just talking about the people that we spend the time with.
How about the dentist? You're not a doctor? I'm a dentist.
That was funny.
A dentist.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
A lot of great.
Seems so
Useless.
like that typical 80s nerd. Very, you know what I mean? It was almost cheesy.
Yeah, Revenge of the Nerds, or the guy that got his dick sucked in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh God, what a movie!
Yeah, a lot of just big characters. The movie, it's a sprawling ensemble cast, for no real good reason, because you're only focusing on one story, which is this mother who is a scuba diving instructor, takes her clients out into the middle of the ocean and they explore this shipwreck. And she begins this love affair with one of her students, who come to find out is undercover as an operative for this organization presumably the same one from the original movie, that is doing genetic testing on piranhas.
Yes.
Right.
To create these killer piranhas. And these eggs were lost at sea, and this guy sort of schmoozes his way into the class in order to get closer to the situation. And turns out these piranhas fly. They have wings like birds. Like, they don't just like leap out of the sea and create the illusion of flight. No, they're actually piranhas with wings.
Yes, they fly. And it's amazing.
He says they spliced them with flying fish, but that's not what flying fish do.
You never heard of a flying fish?
Like flying fish.
They're the
real
ones that sort of, but they don't actually fly. They just sort of give the illusion, like you said.
Yeah, they
and
coast.
Yeah, they kind of glide. They don't really
Like a skipping rock.
They can't just fly out of the water, like a duck. you know.
These piranhas left the water and in a bunch of action sequences started fluttering and biting people in midair.
These are some of the worst action scenes I think I've ever seen.
The CGI is so terrible.
Well, it's not
I'm sorry,
Piranha
not
one,
the CGI. The effects are terrible.
just like it's the lamest deaths. Like there is no tension to any of them. They just kind of bite, and then people are like, they die.
The actual piranhas in the original Piranha were much better.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because you saw less of them.
Right.
This is just the puppetry was so obvious here.
Yeah. Didn't like any of that. And that's the thing. Like that's usually something that I love in movies like this, but it sucked here, so I couldn't get into it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're following all that stuff, and meanwhile, the ex-husband of the mother
Is it ex? She said husband.
Oh, maybe they're separated. I don't know. They're definitely not together. He is a sheriff or like a Coast Guard guy, and he monitors the sea to make sure everybody's safe. So there's some tension there, dramatic tension, and the son is out there in the middle of the ocean, and he's banging some chick that he met on a fishing boat.
As you do.
As you do, because no better time to get your freak on than when you're chasing your white whale.
Although his uncle was there, though. That's a little weird. Or her uncle or whatever.
No, father.
Was it her father?
That's her. Maybe you saw the James Cameron director's cut. They changed it to uncle.
It's less strange if it's the uncle. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that was the dad.
I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of boobs in this movie. There's a horny cook who
With
wants
a stutter.
with a stutter who wants to have a threesome with these chicks.
That was in the movie that I saw too.
Did you see their titties?
Nope.
Okay, yeah, their titties were included in our cut.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So I missed out, didn't I?
Yes. And here's another note I put down. They can't help themselves. They have to find the greedy corporate figure who wants to keep the ocean open.
Yep.
They just can't help themselves.
Right.
They need the mayor.
It's not exactly important in the version that I saw. Like it's kind of, there's like one scene where they mention it and then it's never mentioned again, really.
Right.
Until
I would say that's about the same.
All right, and then until he goes out and he's like, the spawning is happening. So
Yeah.
the spawning is mentioned.
Oh, really? I don't remember that line from our version.
They make a point that the spawning is like this thing where the fish come out of the ocean to like mate, and then everyone goes to kill the fish and eat them.
Okay. Yeah, that was not in our version. Not the spawning line.
I do find it hilarious that this other director just says like James Cameron version of the movie sucks, and yet, so many years later, whose name do we know?
I know.
James Cameron.
What a fuck up.
Well, that's the great experiment of this movie, and why we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I guess it still happens. Like good directors still take corporate projects for the studios, and so yeah, I guess this still happens. But it is sort of a relic of another era.
Again, it's interesting to look back on, although slightly disappointing that James Cameron was not as involved with it as we thought, at least from a directorial standpoint.
Right. Well, also kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Puts things into perspective a little more.
yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
What else do you have about the movie specifically? Anything?
Again, like as I kind of just mentioned, it was kind of surprising to see Lance Hendrickson in this movie.
What now? Who was he?
He's the sheriff, and he's in many of James Cameron movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know his name.
Very prolific actor. He played. He was in Dog Day Afternoon. He shot your boy in the head.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He's in Terminator. He's in Aliens. He's in AVP.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lance Hendrickson.
Well, good for him. Nice to see he was getting work in 1981.
Yeah.
On spawning.
I feel like I will say I feel like the camera work in the movie was fine.
No, that's. I think the movie.
I thought the movie technically was fine.
No, I'm serious. Like I thought, like everything about it was just like so C grade. Like there wasn't anything particularly like shit awful about it, aside from maybe the effects. But
yeah, I said this.
Nothing
I think
remarkable.
I actually kind of think like technically speaking, the movie was too good for what it was.
Well, yes. It hits like that. Well, it hits that like bad where it's like it's not so bad where you can enjoy
entertaining,
it.
right?
Yeah, but it's not like and it's not good enough to be it's just not good enough. Period. So it hits this kind of like purgatory area where you're like whatever. And I quite literally forgot about it the next day.
Yeah.
So
it's sort of a shame.
Yeah.
I did from that undercover guy get very strong vibes of both. I put together a little picture layout of this, but of Neil Breen undercover in Double Down.
Oh God!
And Sam Rockwell playing Chuck Barris in Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. So
That's
I put
your
together.
pictograph.
Oh yeah, it's the three of them here. Let's see if you can. Who wore it better?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Ooh, tough.
They all get the same hairstyle.
Neil Breen.
Great call.
We really need to have Neil Breen on.
If he'll answer our emails, this guy keeps blowing us off, dude.
What we gotta do is just get like a $500,000 architect project in Las Vegas and just
Neil, we got a house for you to flip.
I think he takes some of the money he gets from his work and then just like he'll get an architecture gig and then on the side whenever he has free time he just makes a movie.
I think yes, he's
that's exactly what he does. I think he self-funds his movies through his finances.
precisely. Yeah. And then
you make enough money.
You can't afford.
If you're an architect in Las Vegas, you're making money.
Yeah.
It can't be that hard either because when you're saying there's a house to flip, you think they flip houses in the desert? They just build from the ground up. There's space everywhere.
But if this guy was a good filmmaker, he could be David Lynch.
Yeah, it's as if he had, it's as if crazy matters more than talent. And if you're crazy with talent, you'll be very successful.
Yeah.
But if you're crazy without talent, you can also be successful.
Great point.
You know? Yeah. And if you just have talent, you better be really fucking good.
Yeah, that's true.
Because so many people have talent, but so few people are fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's very true.
What a beautiful thought, Nick.
I like it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful thought.
So, even if you look at the best writers of our time, the ones that we're reading in English class, looking up to, half of them were alcoholics and drug addicts. So,
wow. So,
yeah.
Don't be ambitious, anybody. It's a terrible life.
Yeah.
Don't be ambitious. Don't work hard.
Yeah.
Don't learn. Yeah. Don't be good. No.
Those burgers aren't going to flip
alcohol,
themselves.
Mental issues. Go watch paint dry for 45 hours and snort some coke.
Lay in bed and die.
And then you'll make a really good movie.
Yep. Wow.
Okay, great thought. All right, let's play a game. How many do Careys?
Who are we doing?
We're doing Jim.
All right, I know his net worth, so you guys are up.
Oh my God!
It's you guys.
Why would you look that up?
No, I've just always known his. It's like I know his net worth. I know Spielberg's net worth. I know George Lucas's net worth. So yeah, do your thing.
Well,
these
Jimmy
are just
Cameron.
These are just things you know.
I've been curious. Yeah.
All right.
So
you only do a podcast where every week we look up the net worth of celebrity
I used to be like
individuals,
really interested in like net worths and why I was always surprised why Nick Cage would fluctuate so often, and then I realized it's just because he's an idiot with his money. All right.
All right. I'll guess first, Nick.
All right. I recommend going literally
Hi.
how many Drew Careys, by the way.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
No decimals.
All right.
Full numbers.
Well, we should note, just for context, James Cameron at one point in time, and I don't think it is the case anymore, was the director of the 2 highest grossing movies of all time.
I think that just stopped a month or two ago.
And nobody cared.
Yep. Nobody cared.
Yeah, you're 100%. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Avengers Endgame is now the highest grossing movie worldwide all time.
It just beat out Avatar.
Yep. Avatar is now number 2, Titanic number 3.
Now, bear in mind, the only reason it beat it is because they did a re-release.
Yes.
So I almost think it doesn't count because Avatar was in theaters, no re-release. It was
Yeah,
in
it did
theaters.
have a re-release.
Well, no, but wasn't it already the highest grossing before the re-release?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm saying it was in theaters just for months without interruption.
I understand that's the record, but just generally speaking, I'm a little like every year something breaks the record. Like every year
highest grossing is a terrible unit of measurement. You need butts in seats.
Exactly right.
Right?
That just
how many
bothers
tickets
me.
did you sell?
And also the franchises, I feel like there's a kind of an asterisk next to it. Mm-hmm. Because of course everybody's going to see the new Avengers movies. The fact is James Cameron is the highest grossing director of original movies ever.
Yeah.
The 2 highest grossing original movies. That's the record I want to give.
Like, I'm more surprised by the littler movies, like when Get Out makes a lot of money, or even when Halloween made a lot of money.
Right.
Well, and they still say to this day, if you count just ticket sales, Gone with the Wind would win. But also that's not fair because how many movies were they actually making back then?
Sure.
You know, there were only so many movie stars.
Mm-hmm. Top 10 worldwide all time. Avengers Endgame, Avatar, Titanic, and then the rest are from 2012 onward. Force Awakens, Infinity War, Jurassic World, Original Avengers, Furious 7.
Is Toy Story even on there anymore?
No, The Lion King just got its way on there. Number 9.
Wasn't Toy Story up there for a while?
I don't know worldwide, probably domestically. And then Age of Ultron, Black Panther. So again, the only impressive names here are Titanic and Avatar.
Yeah.
The rest is like, who the hell cares? So yeah, keep that in mind. $5 billion grossed worldwide between those movies.
Yep. How much is James Cameron worth, guys?
He must have made a good chunk of that.
You could say that.
All right, I will take a guess.
Okay.
All right.
And I will go with 3 James Camerons.
3 James
All right.
Cameron? 3 Drew Careys.
Oh, 3 Drew Careys. That's
3 Drew
just
Careys.
a hair under $500 million.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 4.
Of course you would.
4.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was my
fucking
plan.
asshole.
No, that was my plan before you guessed.
Okay.
4 of them. So we're talking, what, 650?
660 million from you, Nicholas.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. One of you got it very close.
Okay.
Actually. And the actual net worth of James Cameron, director of Piranha II, The Spawning,
Sort of.
and Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, is $700 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that means Nick just won this week's edition of How Many Drew Careys?
That's a lot of money.
Fucker is loaded.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
What do
Jerry-
you do with that much money? I can barely fathom. I feel like once you hit like 50 million, I would not even know what to do anymore.
What do you think?
I'm not even joking. I feel like all of my life dreams and goals cannot exceed $50 million.
You and Andrew Luck agree on that, by the way.
Isn't it ironic though? Like James Cameron, the guy who's made these movies, is not even worth as much as Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld is worth, I think, almost $1 billion.
There's more money in television royalty checks, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's just what it is.
Still.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, though. Like, Jerry Seinfeld made 9 seasons, 20 episodes. How many avatars is that? Just runtime.
How does that quantify?
You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's done more work in terms of on-screen output.
If only they did it by, like, screen time in minutes.
Right. Yeah, we would be loaded right now.
True.
Well, James Cameron would be worth a lot more because all his movies are about 6 hours.
Yeah.
I think Spielberg is worth like
Spielberg's worth a couple billion.
like $3 billion.
He's like on the Forbes
Really?
list.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire?
Yeah.
That's wild. I don't understand.
George Lucas is like
Spielberg-
$6 billion now.
Spielberg has his own production company, and
Yeah, he owns DreamWorks, so that's the difference. Yeah.
that's I mean, I don't think Cameron has a big production company like that, right?
He might, but not like that.
He doesn't
Not
have
a big
DreamWorks.
one.
No.
He probably has like a, a lot of these people have like a production company. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
We have a production company, so
Yeah,
that's
right,
how easy
right.
it is to get one. Yeah. No, I think it's Lucas and Spielberg are the only 2 billionaire directors. I think. You see them on the Forbes list. They're like top 100 richest people in the world. Yeah.
And I mean, George Lucas only because he just sold Star Wars, essentially. I mean, I think he was right there beforehand, but then he was like really put up there once he gave away his baby.
It's amazing what that'll do.
Yeah,
money talks. Okay, we good, guys?
we good.
All right,
That was fun.
good. I'm glad we had this talk.
Me too.
I'm glad we had this time together.
I'm not. I never.
So
am.
I think in the coming weeks or so, I will be on Movie Hall of Fame with you guys.
Yes.
Oh boy.
That's not this week, but the following week.
Following week, all right.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah. And I think I'm also going to be on 2 Cents Radio coming up, I think.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to just make you the co-host of 2 Cents Radio, I think, is what we're going to do. Because there's been demand across the internet.
Everyone wants 2 cents.
They love Nick on 2 Cents.
Wow.
Yep.
I've been on it before, and I always had positive feedback. But
So that
I've
is...
decided they have to call me Danny. Because I don't want them to have to change the artwork.
Right.
Okay.
So that is by far and away the number one request I've gotten on the internet over the last couple months is put Nick on 2 Cents. So there you go.
I'm going to do it.
All right. Good. So we'll do that pretty
Superstar.
soon when we feel like recording that podcast. And yeah,
I still don't get the format. I don't know how it works.
there's no format. It's Rob and I like talking on the internet, and for some godforsaken reason, people like listening.
I feel like it's too open, man. It's just
There's no fucking format.
I like listening to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy about that. So yeah, check that out on the site. Movie Hall of Fame will be returning. This week we'll be doing the year 1997. Speaking of James Cameron talk, we're doing Titanic on that podcast.
what's the competition?
Boogie Nights.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, we have to have a real conversation about that.
You know,
Oh,
the funny
man.
thing is, the more I've thought about that, it's actually a lot closer than
It's really close
Well, because you
given the
guys have
criteria.
your criteria, right? You have like impact on film.
Yep.
What else do you have? I know there's more than that.
If I'm being, and the funny that I don't want to spoil it, but if we're going based off of our criteria,
That's what I'm saying. We're going to have a really hard time talking ourselves into.
List the criteria without.
Well, it's quality, which is best movie, legacy, which is does it hold up, is it iconic, and impact, which was how did it change movie making.
That's tough. That's tough. Boogie Nights is great.
So we'll see.
What else you
I
got?
know,
Anything
but I
else, or
actually-
is it just not worth talking about?
what are we?
Well, Good Will Hunting,
Men in Black.
not Men in Black.
I love.
Fuck off with your Men in
I
Black.
love Men in Black.
Love good any movie that can make me weep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting. Holy shit.
It's a good movie year. Three awesome
year.
classic movies came out in 1997. So yeah, we'll
Jackie
talk about it.
Brown came out.
Yeah, Jackie Brown came out.
I'll be frank. I'm gonna put Good Will Hunting above Titanic, but that's just me.
I like it more than Titanic. That's fine.
Well, I can't wait to listen to that one. I'll actually listen to that one.
All right, that'll be great this week. And all the other shows, we're back in full swing. The pneumonia is out of my system. I went on vacation and I'm no longer on the beach, and so we're all good. So we're back. TooManyThoughtsMedia.com, powering up to full speed. And we thank each and every one of you for supporting us along the way. All right. Love you guys.
yeah.
And until next time, you have been so naughty.
No.